Hey there, I'm Lance and I'm a gamer.
And I'm Sam, and I'm a non
And
gamer.
we are Love to Hate, where we try to help gamers find great games to play with non gamers.
And today we're taking a look at Canvas and Canvas Reflections by Road to Infamy Games.
If you're familiar with Canvas, the very popular game from a couple of years back, in which you were playing with translucent cards that you layered on top of one another to form beautiful paintings, well, now they have Canvas Reflections, which has just been fulfilled from the Kickstarter to those who've backed it, and we were lucky enough to get a copy from Road to Infamy as well as the Canvas base game. And we're going to show you both of those in this video, let you know what Canvas Reflections adds to the base game, and let you know our thoughts on it from a gamer and non-gamer's perspective. All right, I have Canvas and the Reflections expansion on the table. Let me show you guys how this card drafting order fulfillment game works, in which you play as an artist trying to gain inspiration to put together the most beautiful masterpieces. Now, I have the components here for both the base game and the expansion on the table, and some of the components in the expansion are going to replace some of the components in the base game, such as the game board. So in the base game of Canvas, you had this game board, which is actually kind of some fabric here that held the cards that were going to be in the market that you could draft, as well as your scoring cards would go on these 4 spots up here. You do not have to play with this if you have the Reflections expansion, as your brand new game board here is going to have a spot for all the different ribbons, as you can see, as well as spots here for the scoring cards, which we'll come back to in just a second. And the market for the different cards that you are going to be drafting is different. With the Reflections expansion, you now have 2 rows of 4 cards to choose from, and we'll explain how the rules change with that here in just a minute. You also do receive new scoring cards in the Reflections expansion. I will cover a couple of those here in just a minute. And you also receive a whole bunch of new backgrounds to be able to play with. Not that that adds anything to the gameplay, it's just more that you get to play with. And there are a slew of new cards that you are going to be drafting, and these new cards are very special. They're very unique, as this is going to be hard to get this in focus, as there's this little dot here to indicate that this is a part of the Reflections expansion, and you can see that on the color icons on the bottom that there is an arrow in the top left that shows you when you flip this over, it's double-sided. This is something new with the Reflections expansion. You have double-sided cards, and you can flip them over, and they're going to be different colors for the tabs on the bottom that are important for these scoring requirements. So that is a nice addition to the game. How a game is going to work, all players are going to start with 6 inspiration tokens if you are playing with the Reflections expansion. If you're not playing with that, then you are going to have a certain number of inspiration tokens. And what these tokens are good for, whenever you draft a card on your turn, this is mostly what you are going to be doing, is drafting these cards. For every column that you pass over, you will have to put 1 inspiration token on each card to the columns of the left of the card you're drafting. So for instance, if I'm taking this card right here, then I would need to place a token on each of these 4 cards. If I were to take a card here, then it would have to be each of these 2 cards. You get the idea. Now, when you take a card that has tokens on it, you gain those tokens, and that is how you are able to continue to draft cards that are further to the right. Whenever cards are drafted, they are all going to shift down to fill in any gaps. New cards will come here and fill in on the furthest right column. So again, on your turn, you will probably be taking these cards. And what these cards are going to let you do, they're going to have different icons and colors at the bottom. Now, these icons and colors are going to correspond to the different score cards that you are playing with. You're always going to have 4 cards out here, and they're going to be set next to these different piles of ribbons, and the color of ribbons indicate that that is in correspondence to this scoring tile. So, for instance, composition here, if I can get this off the table, means that I need to have 1 of every color at the bottom of my painting, and if I'm able to do that, I will gain a green ribbon, and for however many green ribbons I end the game with determines how many points I will have. So, how this works, you can have up to 3 of these cards in one of your painting sleeves. And yes, these sleeves do come with the game, as do they for the scoring cards as well. And you have plenty to sleeve every card in this game. And then there are extras in those boxes that you can just use for other games, or if you want to, you can use them in this game if your sleeves get damaged for some reason. Now, how this is going to work, and it's going to be a little difficult for me to do one-handed, but you are going to take these cards and you are going to slide them in these sleeves. And I'm actually going to pause the video and do this off screen. And there you go. So that's what it looks like when the card is inside the sleeve. And you can see that the red and purple tabs have covered up the different paint splotches down here to indicate that I do have a red and purple tab. Now I can have 3 cards per maximum in a painting. So I can have 2 more, and I'll show you what that looks like. And there you go. I have 3 different cards in this painting, and I am ready to score this. So the other thing I might do on my turn, if I don't want to draft something out here, or if I already have 5 cards, because you cannot have more than 5 cards, you have to score a painting. You start with 3 of these sleeves, 3 of these painting backgrounds, and you need to fill them up to get your points. And so I'm ready to score this one. And how this is going to work, I'm going to go off of these different scoring cards. And for each one that I fulfill what I am trying to achieve, I'll gain the ribbon. And then there are going to be bonus points. In this case, there are gold ribbons here. I will gain a gold ribbon per triangle. Well, I have that on here twice, actually, and I do have a triangle here, so I will get a gold ribbon for each of these because I have a triangle over here. And as you can see, the gold ribbons are going to be worth 3 points. Silver ribbons are worth 2 points. And so then this painting would be finished, and I would just set it off to the side, and I would have 2 more that I could work with. And once all players fill in all 3 of their paintings, the game is over, and you'll see who has the most points based off of the different ribbons that they've collected for their paintings. And they will be awarded the Best in Show ribbon. And that's the one winner for the game. There's actually a new way to win the game, and that is to receive the Masterpiece Award. And you're going to vote on who you think has the coolest, most unusual, or beautiful painting. And perhaps it's My Broken Birth here. And if all players think that My Broken Birth is the best, then I can be awarded the Masterpiece Award, and I will be the winner. So that's the game in a nutshell. I do want to show you some extras with the Reflections expansion. New scorecards such as Rhythm, 3 pairs of all the different icons. You've got Balance here where you want your triangles to equal out the colorless suns. You have Adjacency, 2 pairs of adjacent pairs of all the icons. And another example here is Unity for matching of all the different icons. And there are several others, but that's just a handful of them there. Also, on the back of the original rulebook, you had different scenarios that you could play with, a different set of 4 scoring cards, and that would give you an idea of a way to play and a target score that you were trying to hopefully achieve. You do get that in the Reflections expansion. You have 9 new different scenarios that you can play with and varying degrees of difficulty with new targets that you're trying to reach. So that is pretty cool. And as was the case with the Canvas expansion, or base game, excuse me, I'm actually going to stand up and show you guys how it hangs on the wall here. And hopefully I can do this without it being too difficult, as there is a hole, and there it is, found it. There is a hole in the back of the box where you can hang it on your wall. Well, you do have that with the Reflections expansion as well. I'm showing you guys my studio here. And it hangs on the wall, and as you can see, it creates this beautiful picture. Very cool. So there you have it. That is Canvas and Canvas Reflections. Let's go back down to the table, and we'll share our thoughts on this from a gamer and non-gamer's perspective.
And we're back, and now we're going to share our thoughts on Canvas and the Reflections expansion from a gamer and non-gamer's perspective. So Sam, you never played the Canvas base game before.
I never played it either, although I have seen it in person, but I didn't get to play it until we got this package sent to us. And so first impressions, seeing it out on the table, seeing these translucent cards, I mean, in my opinion, it's got some table presence and it really kind of wows you. What was your first impression?
It's definitely a very unique, has a very unique table presence. The transparent cards are something I've never seen before, not that I can remember. Getting to choose your palette or choose your background of your artwork. So you are kind of creating something unique every
creative
time.
and personal to you.
And we've had a couple of art themed games in the past, I think, year. But this one definitely is unique.
Yeah. And even with its packaging, that it comes in this design where you've got the two boxes next to each other side by side. It looks like a painting. It's got the cutout in the back to be able to hang on the wall like a painting. I mean, the production on this game is through the roof. This is one of the most well-produced games that I've ever seen, period, ever. I really enjoy that aspect of it. You as a non-gamer, is that anything that even means anything to you?
Yeah, I love when a game has nice components, is well put together, is unique. I mean, that definitely, I may not be interested in playing the game, so you kind of want to play with the components and see what it's like, and it definitely gets you more interested than if it's just a basic card game.
A bland looking Euro game or just something very dry. Just, may not have the appeal.
I want to see what's going on with this game.
For sure. And this definitely is a thematic game. It's one that makes you feel like you actually are creating something. You're taking these cards and layering them on top of one another, and you kind of see the picture come to life in a sense. And that's a really cool experience, a creative experience. For you, trying to do well, finding your way through this game as a non-gamer, what was that like?
Frustrating, very frustrating. You know, my goal, even when Lance told me, like, most turns, you're not going to be able to get all 4 components. That's still going to be my goal. And when I can't do that, it's frustrating.
All or nothing.
Even when I get 3, I still feel like I failed because I didn't get 4.
Yeah.
Or I didn't get a gold or a silver medal with it. So it's frustrating. It's not a feel good.
Well, it's definitely, and maybe in some sense, I'm never, and I'm not claiming to be an artist in any means, but I have a feeling that maybe this is something like what artists experience when they create a work of art, and it's not good enough, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you're your worst critic in a lot of ways, and you get that feeling with this game because you feel like, man, I didn't get that ribbon right there,
and by the end, you're like, this is all I had left. This is all I had left in me.
But I don't know. I will agree with you, Sam, that it is frustrating, but I've said this before about several games. This doesn't cross the line, for me personally, doesn't cross the line of frustration to the point of not being fun.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, we played it twice, and it's just one of those games, it's just so different and so challenging, but it isn't to the point where I'm like, no, I never want to play it again.
Okay.
It's just, maybe you need to be in the right mood to be challenged to play it.
Okay. And for me, I think, and this may be the gamer of me side that's talking about this, I look at it and I think, man, if I just would have chose this one instead of that one, if I would have waited one more turn to get this one, then I would have had more of the little palette tokens to be able to get a better card the next turn. Like there are things that I wish I would have done differently, and that drive to want to keep playing it. And
well, I think having 5 in your hand and only being able to use 3 of them, I think there's multiple times I was like, if I could use 4 cards, if I could just use 4 cards,
if I could put 4 together to make
then
one,
it would be great.
Sure.
And so just having them in front of you, and you're constantly rearranging them and flipping them and all that stuff to try to get that perfect painting. And at the end of the day, you're most likely going to fall a little bit short.
Yeah, yeah. Well, let's get into pros and cons on this one, Sam. What were the things that you really enjoyed about Canvas and Reflections?
I think it's just a unique game. And so I think it adds novelty that you probably don't have on your shelf.
Absolutely.
I like the transparent cards. I like the background. I love the sleeves that everything's in. It's well put together. It's not a long game. I mean, for as
30 minutes.
challenging as it is, it's not long. And it's also really easy to understand. It's just challenging. So I think all of those are what I enjoy about it.
Okay. What don't you like about it?
The transparent cards are hard to...
They're hard to pick up off the board. That is one thing, yes. Yeah, you will be trying to pick up those cards several times.
Yeah, but other than that, I can't really think of any real cons. It's just challenging.
Okay.
And you need to be in the right mindset to be challenged.
Sure. Yeah, this isn't probably the game you want to play when you're super stressed out in a sense, because the challenge can be stress-inducing, but not so much, again, this is my opinion, but not so much that it becomes not fun.
Yeah.
It's just, kind of, gets you riled up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So let's get into our scale of 1 to 10. Love to hate on this one. What are you going to give Canvas and Canvas Reflections?
I like it, and I see us playing it again. I think this is definitely one that I want to show friends. Like, look at this game. Look how unique it is. So I'll probably give it a 7.2.
Okay. All right. Solid score there. For me, this is a wonderful, wonderful experience. I held off on getting it the first time around when Canvas came out, and the reason for that was I felt like it was too light. Just on the look of it, I made a judgment decision of, I don't know that there's going to be enough game there to entice me. It would be too light for me is kind of what my initial thought was. I judged a book by its cover, and now that I've actually gotten to play it, I realize I'm dead wrong. This game has a whole lot into it with all of those different scoring cards that you can play off of. It has a ton of replayability. I think the Canvas Reflections expansion adds a ton to it. And in my opinion, I would definitely want Reflections with Canvas if I'm going to play Canvas. I don't think I want to play Canvas all on its own. I want the Reflections with it. Just because it adds the board, it adds that extra row of cards you can draft from, adds more scoring cards to play with. I think it's a great game. For me, this might be in my top 10 at the end of the year. I really love this game. For me, I'm going to give it an 8.2. Solid experience, really enjoy it. I'm proud to own it.
Yeah.
I'm proud to have it. I'm going to hang it on the wall somewhere in this room. I don't know where, but I'm going to hang it on the wall and show it off to people and then get off the wall and play it. So, but yeah, there you have it. That is Canvas and the brand new Canvas Reflections. It's from Road to Infamy. Make sure to leave some comments down below. Let us know what you think about these games.
Make sure to like and subscribe and push that bell button so you get notifications of all our new content.
I'm Lance.
I'm Sam.
And we are Love to Hate, where we try to help gamers find great games to play with non-gamers. We'll catch you next time.